Hi everybody, welcome back to On the Roof. Today we have the return of one of my favorite guests since the show started, Chris Campion. What's up, Chris?
Nice to be back, Scott.
Yes.
I'm a little off kilter, a little discombobulated because I think I was wearing these pants in the last interview. I was talking to Chrissy when I left the house and looked down, and now I haven't checked it yet. We'll see. But now, the thing is, now everybody's going to know. Let's just get it out of the way.
Yes, okay. Yeah. So, because I'm sure everybody out there in live stream TV land is wondering.
Yes, they are, of course, yeah. Well, the first thing they ask is, what's he wearing? That's all.
Yes, but everyone's grateful that you're wearing pants. Anyway, happy birthday.
I'm jogging out of the tunnel, double nickels on the jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Hard to believe.
Good for you, man. What's going on? What have you been up to?
You know, gigging in this here pandemic. Not easy. Played last night at this place in the West Village, Corner Bistro, which is, a lot of people know it. Right. Legendary burger joint. We play outside, so more like a busking situation.
We're here in Donovan's pub in Woodside, New York, and you do, what is it, a monthly?
Yes, play every month here. Yeah. This is a home game for me. We're a family. I play here once a month, and this is a beloved, definitely a beloved place in Woodside.
You, I always say, are one of probably the funniest guys I know, and you're probably funnier than most of the comedians, working today.
That is a hell of a lot of pressure, and I know I'm going to crumble under it now.
Not so much.
I got nothing.
It's a pandemic, and there aren't no comedians working today. That's why I was throwing it out there like that.
Necessity is the mother of invention, so we've all been just finding ways to perform, which mostly is live streaming.
But what's your perspective on the whole coronavirus, COVID-19 deal? Because you had it kind of the same time I had it.
Yeah.
And it was scary as shit to me.
Oh yeah, I mean back then, there's still a lot of mystery swirling around this pathogen and how it behaves, and you hear 3 different things a day, about this. But still, back then, people were dropping like flies.
Yeah, they were.
They didn't know how to treat it, seemingly, and so they were way in the weeds with it, and that's around the time that we got it. I fortunately had mild symptoms. I had the old, woke up, couldn't smell or taste anything, which is a strange sensation.
Yeah, crazy.
And but Chrissy, my fiance, she was, really leveled by it. It was really scary. Couldn't get out of bed for weeks on end. And we had to run her to the ER.
Yeah,
it was all.
Yeah. She's good now, right?
I literally walked around our apartment for weeks, just crying all the time. I was that terrified, and she was, the breathing was really, really labored, and, just in the room, physically couldn't do anything. So it was,
That's what I mean, because I know, everyone's suffering, through economic stuff and time on their hands, people in close quarters, and there's all that kind of shit going on right now. But when I have to hear people complain about that after having it the way I had it, it's really hard to identify. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, and I know it sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. I'm just saying, it could be really bad, man. And it has been for so many people. And you look at the numbers, whatever, that's a whole nother story. But
when Chrissy resolved out of it, we as a therapeutic exercise, we started taking these long walks, through Woodside. And you were seeing warm trucks, around 43rd Ave.
March and April was unbelievable.
It was. We didn't know what they were at first. And then we sort of hear the refrigeration system, and then on the news, we saw one. It was we could identify what it was. And, it was chilling. You know, like.
Okay, now that we got into some, depth, enough of that.
Yeah, this is wildly entertaining. People are going to be so psyched to
No, I
tune in and relive March, Scott.
If you just let me do my thing, I don't come to your gigs and such. Right?
That's true.
I don't heckle your shit.
You can, though. There are many that do. So.
I don't want to just be another groupie.
Yeah. That is how my groupies behave.
Here's the thing about you that I've always liked about you is that you took some of the darkest experiences of your life and you did a stand-up show, which was not just a stand-up, it was one of the funniest experiences ever. I mean, it was so hysterical, and yet, again, like I'm saying, that was based on real, like, black darkness. I mean, that was as dark as it was for you. Right?
Yeah.
So your ability to do that, I'm hoping you can find some of that and twist this thing back into gear here.
I think we all kind of have to do that, I mean, we all, it's just an Irish thing to spin it to the direction.
Yes.
Or you can laugh.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this has been, when can you say in your life that you had a problem that you shared globally?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's easy to feel connected also to everybody else, like navigating through this. And I mean, you're referring to Escape from Bellevue.
No.
Yeah. That's right. It was a one-man show, and then it became a memoir.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think like humor is a great delivery system. You know what I mean? And it makes things palatable for people. I don't do that consciously or anything. Or, I shouldn't say that. I mean, you kind of do design things maybe a certain way, but I think when you can tell a story and you can make it funny, you can land your point a lot easier than if
people relate to it, but it's also the vulnerability of you, putting some stuff out there that is, I mean, most people don't even know what that is. We talked about it like it was, it's a Thursday.
Yeah. No, for me it was a Thursday, Scott. Yeah, it was more like Monday. I wore this hat today. I'm singing that song.
That probably needs more of an explanation than the pants.
This is my Papa John Phillips hat, who I got to meet once, by the way. I was like back on Long Island, early days. I was in my early 20s in a band, living in a band house with the guys. It was the classic cliche, ramshackle place. And, we all had these like little jobs to pay the rent. We gig at night and play at night. And word got out that Papa John Phillips had rented a house in the neighborhood. This was around the time of...
Where was this? Where?
In Huntington. Back in Huntington. Yeah, this is probably back like around 1989 or 90.
Wow.
90. And so I got a job. I was driving around these frozen steaks and seafood.
Yeah.
It was a company called Horizon Meats Company or something. I think so. I don't remember. It was like this fly-by-night operation where the pitch was you go up and ring a doorbell, which you can't do anymore now. I don't even think pre-COVID you could do that. And you say to them, hey, I got some surplus on my truck, which wasn't true. You're really there to sell it. This was the pitch, And, Omaha steaks and everything, wholesale. And that was the pitch. So I found out he was living in the neighborhood. So, huge thing. Like, moms and the papas. I love moms. And so I went up there and I rang the doorbell and he answered the door in a robe. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon in a robe with like his Papa John hat on.
Yeah.
It's like 18 or 20 years later, he's still wearing the hat. And I was so thrilled. He stunk like booze. It was like 3 in the afternoon. And so he invited, I said, all right, he's sure, come on in. And he was the nicest guy. I finally worked up the nerve to tell him, I was a musician, singer, songwriter, I was in a band. I was like, in my early 20s. And he was like the nicest guy, but I'll never forget what he told me when I left. And I said, thank you so much. He goes, oh, thank you. And he goes, and good luck with your meat and your music. So
It's a great story.
I have that. Thank you. That was worth the time, right?
No, the thing I remember about him was he got a liver transplant,
He did.
and he drank on the new liver.
Yeah. I went back to drinking on the weekends.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I was like, wow.
I think Larry Hagman may have done that too. I'm not sure. Yeah, can you even do it? How you can't? I mean, that's like,
was I placing a little judgment? Yeah, that's
yeah.
Let's just say I understand it better now than I did then.
There you go.
But that's.
Can you? I mean, I don't know.
But that was happening to you in Huntington, and you also lived next door to Richie Blackmore.
I did, yeah.
Right, you had some stories about that too.
That was when I was, which is really funny. I mean, the neighborhood, it wasn't like, wasn't like he was living in some Scarface mansion or something.
Yeah.
So it was just a regular tutor, that was, I was about 10 years old when he moved in. And surreal, I still have very vivid memories of like the truck, like pulling. Like I remember the truck, like I was out playing wiffle ball with my brother, and we had no idea that he was moving in or anything. I didn't even know who he was. I was only 10.
Right.
I knew Smoke on the Water from the radio or something, but like, it was probably just post Machine Head too, like mid '70s. Like, when he moved in, so he was coming off that thing. But all I remember is the big moving truck, like trying to make the turn around and then these like 4 Spinal Tap characters jumping out, with like, the mullets, like, no, you've got to turn it round again. Yeah, no. They like wiped out the mailbox, and then it was screeching, and then he came in a car behind him, and he got out, and my brother like was paralyzed by it. He's like, that's Richie Blackmore. He knew it. He was in high school,
right?
Yeah, he knew who he was.
But did he have any idea that he was moving next to the Irish Von Trapps?
What's really funny? Somebody ran into him about 8 years ago, and he was out in Montauk, a friend of mine. Right. And he went over, it was like a breakfast place, and he went over to the table, and he said, the Campions say hello, and he was like in the middle of his breakfast, and he goes, oh yes, the Loud family. Referred to us as the Loud family.
But your whole
6 kids, 2, parents, 8 people living in there, a lot of, this is in the days in the 70s before cell phones, when somebody got a call, it was like,
But all you kids were music.
Yeah, everybody played, But everybody sang, and most of us now play instruments.
Yeah. I mean, still when you guys get together, it's a blast.
Yeah. We're always, that's what we do.
And you went into your biggest claim of success was the Knockout Drops?
Yeah, I would say probably before Escape from Bellevue, which was in tandem, because I did the show with the Drops. The show was, the band was on stage with me as I unfurled my tale of woe. Then we would go into a song, so it was, there was songs wove into stories, monologues.
Right.
And then there was this sort of blitz of multimedia,
Right. What were the biggest venues you got to play in, like that, like Long Island venues or New York City venues that for you personally meant like, wow, I'm on this stage, or, I mean,
there's a chapter in the book called Always a Bridesmaid. And because we were always opening for bigger, I guess, Jones Beach would probably be the biggest one. We opened for the Beach Boys there.
Wow.
In the 90s. And I think Carl was still alive, and they, that was a big night. We opened for Jethro Tull there also.
And basically a forgotten band now, but they were huge in the day too.
Yeah.
Sold out Shea Stadium.
My uncle freaked out. My uncle is also my godfather. He's a Vietnam vet, and he absolutely loves the Beach Boys, loves Jethro Tull, and so it was a thrill to get him backstage. For those shows. And but the one thing I remember was we opened for Jethro Tull, and a little squall blew in, and we had to go acoustic. They didn't want like an electric band, so we had to scale it down and do it like stripped down. thing with just Tom and Phil and myself, just acoustic, And all I remember is we were standing. There was like an X on the side of the stage, and we were like 1 or 2 feet past it. And their manager came up and went, "Up, fellas, move back." We're like, and so we moved back. He was wound like tighter than a snare drum. This guy, And what we remember is a squall blew in as we were in craft services, and we were eating. Ian Anderson was at the end of the table, and like a little tarp blew up because they threw like stuff over the instruments after they shot, and like a little bit of the keyboard tarp. He was like pointing to it, and his manager went running over there, and he went down, and he followed him down the hall. He was like, "Ian, please, it's fine. They tied it down," and so we followed, and he slammed the door in his manager's face, and the guy who yelled at us turned around and he's like, "What are you looking at?" Like one of those. And then he opened the door and he smiled and he fucking with him the whole time.
Who was your biggest influence
for
musically? Like, did you have anybody in particular?
Oh, I think back then, probably the Replacements were very big. I mean, the Stones are my great love. My first and most profound love in music, still to this day. And but I think around then it was probably. Around 14 years old, I kind of jumped off the classic rock train in WLIR, that station on Long Island, which was
Dennis McNair.
There you go. Malibu Sue, Donna, Larry the Duck, normal. They, I started getting into like post-punk, post-mod, punk rock, a lot of imports and stuff through that station. And my sisters both had gone overseas and done semesters abroad in Ireland and England, and they brought back all this great stuff, like the Jam and the Pogues, and and then that station was playing like early U2, and so I think around then it was like a lot of that stuff, the Clash, but for us in the Drops, definitely REM and the Replacements were two huge, right? Because we used 12 strings and.
Let's go before COVID hit, and the kind of gigs you were playing a lot were like residency type things. You had like steady venues that you would play at in the Lower East Side, different parts of the city in Brooklyn, right? Who are some of your contemporaries that you think that you just have an extra level of respect for?
I mean, I love Wilco. I love Jeff Tweedy. I think that. He's so prolific. He's a great example of actually even within this pandemic. He's like, put out a record. I think he wrote a book. He did write a book that Chrissy got.
Didn't he do the thing with Mavis Staples?
Yeah, he produced
documentary. Right?
Yeah. And I think he produced a couple records for her. One, I think that he won a Grammy for it. But I think he got one for producing it.
Yeah.
But The Drops, we used to open for Soul Asylum, and so we got to meet those guys back in the day, some of the guys in the Jayhawks, and they were in a band called Golden Smog, like a collective.
What about local musicians, like in that circle in the city, in Brooklyn area, like guys and girls who you actually see perform, or maybe even just maybe playing the same band at different times or whatever? Your genre.
Yeah, I have a YouTube show. It's like a startup show called Campion Go-Go.
Is Shemp ever on there?
Yes, Shemp is on there.
Oh, man.
Shemp Butler, who does all our resident interviews. And Shemp is a character that I play that he he's kind of rooted in his era, which is like mid to late 70s. He goes into a sensory deprivation tag to listen to all his music with the headphones. And he gets all the influences of people wrong. Like the question you just asked me, he wouldn't even ask. He'd be like, so I listen to the record, and I'm telling you right now, all I hear is Grand Funk Railroad and Gilbert O'Sullivan, definitely. So PJ O'Connor was just on with me, and he was a member of the Bachman with my brother.
Right.
And, my brother.
Bogman is your brother Billy.
Billy
Right.
Campion, aka
Right.
The Thrill, and he produced PJ's records. Billy Ryan is in that band. Those guys all play solo, and then they play together, and then they have their, So I love all those guys. And,
Well, Billy's definitely one of your
so I have huge
contemporaries,
respect.
I mean, right? So
Yeah,
he's all over the place.
and he produced stuff for me.
We gotta get him here too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he produced. I have a full length that came out in 2016. He produced most of the tracks on that. Called Watch the Gap.
Yeah.
And so he's like a real wizard in the studio with the Ableton program.
Hey, motherfucker.
That's it. Yeah. And he gave it real punk-tronic sort of overtones and like what I wanted for it.
Talented, man.
Yeah. So those guys for sure.
Jesse Mallon, you familiar with Jesse Mallon's work?
I don't know Jesse personally. Met him once or twice back in the day. He used to be the DJ of the Green Door party on, it was at Coney Island High. This is back when he was in D-Generation.
Right, yeah.
And we used to go to that all the time. It was, I think it used to be like late night on Thursday, one night a month on Thursday nights or something. Then they moved it. But, he's a great example of somebody, putting out a lot of records. And he just put out a record that Lucinda Williams produced last year. And,
He did a thing with Billy Joe Armstrong.
Great local guy.
Springsteen plays with him a lot. Jumps on stage with him.
Yeah, he's,
Yeah.
Jesse's great.
Yeah. He has a podcast, I guess it's a podcast of a YouTube show, whatever, that did really well during this thing. There's a lot of How is your show doing?
It's great.
Live stream, was it on Fridays?
I do live stream every Friday. Yeah, CJC live from the living room, and we started doing that actually May Day. May 1st was we resolved out of the COVID, and like everybody else, was just like kind of scrambling, like how am I going to make money,
Yes, that's brilliant.
My whole life is all these different revenue streams. Like when you're a musician and an artist, like you can't have we all got in bands when we were younger, and that was the organism, and you were going to make a living off that, and you get in the van and you go out and you do it, and we kind of got to the end of that as it was, and that was the reason I did Bellevue, is because we were like putting out records and then getting in the van, and we'd be added to some AAA radio station, in New England somewhere. And we'd be like, oh man, the place is going to be packed. And there'd be like 13 people there,
man.
6 of them the staff,
Yeah.
So we were, so that's why I was like, I got to do something else. And ever since then, like that kind of handed the baton to other things. And, I write essays like for the East Hampton Star. And, but the live stream thing for me has been great. Because it's good, my show is kind of like, I play like my own compositions, like it's almost like a folk hour, but then in between, talking a lot of shite, and we get riffing on topics, like it's kind of very Gen X, sort of informed, and
Right.
we'll say things like because I play my stuff, but then I play music that maybe informed my music too, like I'll play a Smith song,
Right.
or an REM song, and then after the song's over, I'll say like, well, who wins that fight, Michael Stipe or Morrissey?
Michael Stipe's not winning any fights.
I think
Lay that right up.
Yeah, I think
You can sing the shit out
I
of
think
the
most
song.
everybody thought Morrissey after a couple of beers would really mop the floor with, but that's the kind of thing we talk about on there. Or
I mentioned
tell stories and stuff.
I mentioned this to you last time. You turned up one night, probably one of the most important nights for me personally, with your outlandish humor. One of my best friends had died that day, early in this day. It was a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I had to drive in from Huntington into the city and just deal with this whole thing. And it was devastating. Devastating, a really cool dude and a dear friend.
Yeah, Chrissy.
Yeah. And but this is so raw. This is like that day. And I'm driving home. I'm not really getting that emotional publicly like that. But I was in my car crying my eyes out just because I couldn't. The reality of what just happened is it's fucking devastating, right? And I turn on the radio, and ESPN radio is Scott Clark doing this show about recovery, stepping out.
Oh, yeah.
Who was his guest? Chris Campion. Talking about, tell a story, man. You remember the story about when you came home and decided to just get undressed and get into bed? I'll leave it there, let you take it from there.
My early days drinking, I think it was probably after the Southern Comfort experiment, which is a rite of passage.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah, blackouts are a big part of my story. There's a lot of hours that are unaccounted for that still make my neck hair stand up. This was, I blacked out and, I woke, when the story is I woke up the next day, I was like 17, I was in high school, and I was naked, and that was not common. And it was the first time that I would have that feeling like where like laying in bed sort of septic.
I had no idea what just happened with this.
And paralyzed by fear and thinking of knowing something was wrong but not knowing what.
Yes. I'm ashamed of myself. I don't know why.
That was a feeling that I would know many times from there on. But so anyway, I just remember they called me down for Sunday breakfast, threw some clothes on. My dad, who was a real joker, forks are clinking. There's no, I'm looking at these eggs, these runny eggs, and I'm probably gonna have to run to the bathroom. And my dad goes, he goes, you gotta stop coming between your mother and I like this. And I was like, what? Did I ask him for something? And then he said no, and I did the old, in run and asked her what. And he goes, go upstairs to our bedroom, maybe you'll piece it together, And I go up there and I see my clothes are neatly stacked at the foot of their bed, Not good. So apparently I had come home, gone upstairs, gotten undressed, come downstairs, gotten in bed, or missed them. I don't know what, if I was wandering around the house or whatever. My door was first on the left on the next floor, so made a wrong turn.
Yeah.
Got in bed with my parents, which would take a legion of psychotherapists to unravel, Scott.
Yes. But when
I'm going to choose not to.
No, you recounted that story in more vivid detail that night. And I literally almost got in an accident. I mean, I was laughing so hard. It took me from a real solemn, dark place into just flat out laughter. And that's the beauty of what laughter can do.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying earlier about what you're so good at. It's taking darkness and just making it really funny shit. Not just comical, but really funny.
Oh, yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel like I was saying before, it's either that or,
I know, but some people are better at it than others, and that's why you're here, and there's so many people.
I think if you're James Joyce or something, or, then, you'll be able to write it the other way.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But now, jumping back to Escape from Bellevue for a little bit, again, that was, again, some real personal darkness, and some of those stories that you would tell me, and oh my God, funny as shit. I mean, piercing funny.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Gut-wrenchingly funny.
Yeah.
What about when you found yourself in Bellevue? When you realize you finally come to, and you realize, you look around, you can't tell the story. You've told it last time we did the show. You told it, and I don't want to be redundant, but for anybody that didn't see that, this is some of the funniest stuff to me that I've ever heard. You do recount these stories the way you do.
I wrote that book 10 years ago. I'm kind of on to new stuff now, so I don't really want to rehash the whole.
Down, Ken's failing. Down. All right, so we're back here, coming to you live from Donovan's Pub in Woodside, Queens, and I'd just like to thank Danny and everybody from Donovan's.
Yeah, Jimmy,
giving us the spot,
whole
Jimmy.
staff. Yeah.
This is really cool.
Yeah. Like I said, beloved home game. Donovan's is
Woodside home to many of us.
Yeah. It's great too when you're a Met fan and you play here. Even in 2015, was I remember doing a show one night. It was very hard to play, like with the game on.
And we're right on the center line, man.
Like, yeah.
You probably could hear the train in the back.
And and Danny's sisters are vendors, Dan Connor's, yeah. And, yeah, so a lot of
Are they still there? Are they still running?
No, I don't think so. Are they? Remember those big plastic cups, the green cups? But we get a lot of like of the vendors from City Field. They come in here like when we're playing after the games, and it's always a big crowd. And the people that are catching the LIWR.
I was a vendor at Shea and the Garden when at 14.
Oh, you're kidding me?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, we told
I remember I was at Game 6 of the '86 World Series with my dad. The Harry M. Stevens. Remember, it was that big green cup with like the wax. If you didn't drink it in like 45 seconds, it would disintegrate in your hand. There was a kid, Game 6. Can I tell the story quickly?
No, I don't know. All right.
There was a kid in front of me, and him and his dad, they were there from Boston, and they had the Red Sox, hats on. This kid was like 7 years old. And through the whole game, every time something went wrong for the Mets, he had one of these real punchable sort of chowder heads,
Father or the son?
The son. He was in front of me. I was like 19. That's when I was 20. And the kid, every time something went wrong for the Mets, he'd turn around and he'd like, right here. So my blood was boiling by the end of the game. And then Dave Henderson hit that home run. You remember? We thought it was curtains. They actually put it up on the scoreboard. Congratulations, Red Sox. We all know the story.
Right.
And he turned around, and the kid's like, I was homicidal. Like, watched every inning that year.
Great year.
And so, we all know the sequence of events that happens next, which is, and probably my greatest sports gratification of my life was to see this kid humbled and destroyed by that sequence. But the better thing was I had one of those Harry M. Stevens. So, when the ball went through Buckner's legs and the stadium erupted, we all, and the beer, like some of the beer came out at the top and landed on the kid's head. It was like this.
Accidentally.
And my hand was like this. So now I got a decision to make. To this day, I feel bad. And I remember the kid, he was soaking wet. It's terrible. This is, not something I'm proud of. But his father didn't see it, because we turned around, and of course, the cup was like that.
Right.
And I said, I apologized. I said, I'm sorry. I think I got him with that beer a little bit, He goes, nah. He goes, I think those are tears. So, wherever you are, I'm very sorry. Well, you know what, that kid, I don't think I put, what do they have, three rings since then? They're not carrying that around anymore.
What's going on with this? Explain what Turbo Tribeca deal is.
Yeah, Turbo Tribeca music community is it's a collective of these really sought after like session players and songwriters, mostly New York based, and I'm really fortunate to be part of that, because it's a privately funded thing. And, guys like Joe Vitale, who's a multi-instrumentalist and drummer for Joe Walsh and Crosby, Stills Nash, and, some real heavy cats, Danny Miranda, who, he's bass player for Queens and Blue Oyster Cult.
So what
we do is we do a lot of like recordings, live shows, tribute recordings.
So if you have an idea and you want to take it to the studio, you can call these guys and go.
Yeah, it's basically started. It was kind of an assemblage. It was really just like kind of a song database. We were doing like some covers and then some original stuff. Like if a television show needed some, Bob O'Reilly or something, we can replicate it to the letter, and it's right there. if they want a knockoff version of it, and we were really mostly just doing it for fun. And then me and one of the musicians, atomic drummer and a great harp player and really great artist. He does a lot of the in-house drawing for us, Keith Foley. So it was me and Keith Foley kind of, took these guys and we started Turbo Tribeca. You can pitch an idea to the community, and then get funding.
So is it like on social media with people?
Yeah. You can go to Turbo Tribeca Music Community and just like it on Facebook, and that's where it lives right now. A lot of the recordings are the Papa Duke's YouTube channel. That's where you can find it. Really some amazing stuff. And I have a new record coming out in a couple of weeks, actually.
All new.
A new EP. Yeah. And
so EP needs how many songs?
There's going to be 5 on this one. Yeah, and I'm going to be a little cryptic talking about this because we have a really cool packaging idea for this thing.
I guess we go back to Escape from Bellevue.
I want to be. I have a really great idea for the package. It's a surprise, so because it's going to have more than one functionality than just a CD. There's going
what
to
a
be,
teaser that is!
Yeah. Have I put intrigue in the air? Is it, yeah. People are, that's another thing, when we're doing the shows, outside at the bistro, I notice, people are, very starved for, live music right now.
Yeah.
So, we'll start playing and it'll be all of a sudden they come out from the corners, turns into Whoville, they're all, because they're just any stimulation of the environment, especially with live.
I'm in a lot of groups on social media that are different live music type groups where, and before this pandemic, I didn't realize how much live music meant to so many people.
Oh yeah,
there's just so many venues, bars, and of all different sizes that people would have their own little niche in.
Yeah,
right. And when it's all taken away, there's so many people that just going I just want something. Because that means so much when you go see one of those live events. I mean, people that are into that, I'm one of them.
That's a lot what we're hearing. People are so grateful, just that we're out there. And
the streaming can only do so much. I mean, it's just not, it's what we have. It's the avenue we have. It's not the same as sitting in front of somebody that's actually performing, doing their thing. I remember there was an old timer once who was, somebody was drinking a non-alcoholic beer. He's like, that's like taking a shower with a raincoat on, and that's kind of like what live streaming can feel like, because probably both for the viewer and the person playing is that it's not live, but there's a lot of components to it that are really cool too. That I'm discovering. It really is a lot of fun. It's a different animal, but even when the pandemic ends, I'm going to continue doing the show because it's a really great way to connect with people. Without you can interface without the live environment, and it can be very intimate. If you're just playing into a. Listen, I do a thing on Saturday nights. I'm there every Saturday night. Yorma does it's called RT Concert Series. Yeah. And he's done he hasn't missed it from April, the first week in April, all the way through every Saturday. Yeah, it's just such an intimate thing. Him and his wife hosts it, and he just what it's offered him, which is cool as an audience member just watching this, is he's delving into part of his songbook that he would never perform. He's practicing all week to do these Saturday night gigs, and his whole. His whole performances are he's playing better than ever. Yeah, it's so unbelievable. Yeah, Chrissy and I are going back to Jeff Tweedy. I was telling Tommy before the broadcast that he and his wife and family, they do an Instagram live stream show, and it's amazing because he's playing deep cuts, stuff from the catalog that you probably wouldn't hear at a live show because it just wouldn't fit in a Wilco set. Yeah. And then he talks about the songs and where they came from sometimes. And actually, they just kind of scattergun it. They talk about whatever's going on, but you really get
you can feel like you know the guy, like
that's the thing.
So it's
let you
very
in
generous.
their house,
It's a very generous act.
It's really cool,
and we love it. Like, we like play Scrabble and just like throw it on, and it's one of those, and people will say, it's funny. People have come up to me both at the live thing, the outside thing that we're doing, and then also about the live stream, just saying that they want some normalcy, they want to feel. And I just kind of feel like, the live stream really we're going to discover the society and show business and everything is going to evolve.
It's not going. We're not going back to where we were. Like whenever this thing kind of resolves, we're not going to be where we were. Where we're going to be, who knows?
Yeah.
But some people are going to be a lot better off, and some people aren't. And let's see how that plays.
You gotta, you gotta read the handwriting on the wall, and the show business anyway is a trapeze act, You gotta really know where the next swing is and grab the rope,
Now more than ever.
And,
but let's get back to where I get off on these tangents every now and again. But so do you. So
I know.
trying to stay on track is not easy.
Well, we could just call this the ADD hour, and then we'll
say that we're in sync there.
That's good.
ADD.
Brought to you by Ritalin.
Brought to you by Ritalin. Yeah.
Let me.
We could both snort a line of Ritalin, to start the show. Get a nice little powdered donut. Yeah. So I'm not feeling it yet, are you? That's what
Come back.
Oh,
come on back. Bring it down, Turbo.
Here you go. I feel it. Reel me in. Slowly. Aren't you forward?
Your new EP. Does it have a title?
Right now it's just CJC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the songs, can you get into any kind of descriptive terms on any of the songs? Any one particular song mean the most to you?
Not really. They're just the new ones that I've written, and it's music has changed so much. You used to have to try to pick a single, and I've released these songs singularly. They're up on my Bandcamp page, ChristianJohnCampion.bandcamp.com.
Yeah.
Wove that in easily. Right?
Listen,
but now I'm collecting them and bringing them out as a record. So yeah, it's funny. One of the songs is "At Your Funeral," and then it's parentheses. It actually is. It's really more just like a character profile. You just mentioned people at a wedding. It's just more of a, But I think I'm going to change the title. I think I'm just going to change the title to "See" because it's "At Your Funeral" and it's there's a parenthetic clause. Parentheses. I love his face. Same road. That's like the six. I try to do that Norwegian would. This bird is flown thing with parentheses. So I think I'm just going to go with same road, so it doesn't. So people don't think it's a dirge because it's not.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You asked me about the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. This is really early in the day for me, like Scott. At the gig last night, I was just trying to rein myself in.
I wanted to ask you about your writing the songs lyrically, what your process is lyrically, not melodically, but just where do you come up with writing? Is there
there's not
a
one
message in the song important to you?
Oh yeah, definitely. There has to be. You have to have some intent when you're singing a song.
Susu Studio was in it.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. I did it. It's funny. I did a Phil Collins song on the live stream last Friday, and which uncorked a huge debate about Phil Collins because the many shades of Phil Collins. Genesis drummer, and then they push him out front. He's the frontman and solo career stuff. Yes, and of course, Susu Studio came up. This mild debate ensued about whether or not he's good.
There's a solo act. That's one of his biggest singles, and it's just what is that?
Yeah. I don't do it any one way. Sometimes a song will come like a melody, and there'll be some accompanying words, and sometimes just a melody. It usually doesn't come in the form of words first. Usually that, but then I'll start banging it out on a guitar, just seeing where it's going to go. But for me, when I have a song, say I have some changes, I try to just get like cinematic pictures of like whatever the music sounds like to me, and I just kind of try to let my imagination wander onto whatever images it's brings up, and then I try to fill in the blanks.
How personal do you get, when you're, telling stories?
When I'm singing a song or when I'm telling a story?
When you're performing one of your songs, when you're writing a story, how deep do you go into like your vulnerability when you're exposing that to an audience?
I don't think I ever really think about it. I think
so none would be the answer.
Probably none. Yeah. I don't. Like I said, I just kind of go wherever it seems like it wants to go.
Well, we've talked music like many times, and even when we talk Rolling Stones, and a lot of the songs that touched you were like the ballads and things like that.
Yeah.
So they're really heartfelt pieces,
Yeah.
lyrically. So do you go to that place?
Yeah.
What is yours? I'm trying to get to what is that zone for you?
I have a song called "Wrong Turn" on the Escape from Bellevue record.
Speaking of escaping from Bellevue,
that's what I mean. That's like a deeply personal. That was about my experience in Bellevue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not afraid to tell the truth. And I think usually when you do that, that's like the real marrow. And that's when you absolutely connect. I remember listening to an interview with Mavis Staples, and she was talking about her dad, Pop Staples, and he told her once, like, if you sing from the heart, anything that you sing from the heart lands, in other people's hearts. And I kind of feel like that's true. People know when they're hearing the truth. They know when they're hearing the straight throat. And I think anytime you can do that and not get in your own way.
Yeah.
People that are struggling writing songs, not that I'm an expert. Nobody's an expert, by the way. We're all just fumbling, trying to write the next one.
Right.
But I always tell people that are struggling to fire your editor. Fire that editor in your head that's keeping you from finishing it because you don't think anything you do is good enough. Like, I can honestly say out of all the songs I've written, none of them to me are first of all, anytime I track them and record them, that's the last I'm going to hear them, except for playing them. And all the stuff I love better than my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like my songs as much as any of the songs I love.
Don't some of those heartfelt songs evolve over time when performing them? Like those moments come back and they touch you in a way?
They can.
Yeah.
They can. I have a song called While I While Away, which is, a song where I wrote, it's all about my courtship with Chrissy, and how that happened. And, it depends. It's a really sweet song. And then a song, like I was talking about, I'm trying to think of the new record. I have a song called Almighty Rock and Roll, which is, maybe I'll play it. I don't know. Am I going to do it too? Or,
I hope so.
Yeah. And that's like an autobiographical, song kind of about lifers, the people that I know that do this, and most of us aren't household names, we got to hustle and play gigs and do all sorts of different things and wear all sorts of different musical hats. And, like I said, I sing on, I do session work, I sing on demos for people, and sometimes play harmonica for people, and I do various cover gigs, around town, and then I do real shows. I mean, they're all real shows, but then I present my own work and write essays. You got to do whatever you can to get by.
It's not easy. I get it.
Yeah.
But you see, like anybody that's seen you live, when it's something like when you come out, it's like a switch goes off, and you just turn into the persona. Like you just take on another almost identity. You're like high energy, man.
Oh, thanks.
Right?
Well, those are my heroes. I was always. It's funny that this pandemic has impressed me into a different service. I always, I was a front man for most of my life. That I was just that. I didn't. I played guitar just to. I keep like playing air guitar when I don't.
Right.
Just to write songs. Get get some changes together, and then hand it off to a great guitar player like Tom McMillan in the Knockout Drops or something. He would expand on it, and then we would just work on the songs. If I was bringing in the idea, or just a lot of times they did too, I would just sketch a melody over it or whatever, and we would just kind of put it in the gumbo and write together. But I was a fronter, purely, and now it's like I gotta do the solo, man with the guitar thing, and I'm sorry that I keep handling this.
We'll get you there, don't worry.
I got the monitor, so I keep seeing myself go like this, like it's like a tick now, I think.
What's your free bird? One of your songs that people identify with you or you feel obligated to?
I think at Knockout Drop shows it would be Vicious Freaks. That's the one, and that's probably the one
you
that
wrote
I
that?
wrote it with the guys.
So when you were doing that, did you know you had something as you were creating that?
Yeah, I mean, you play it once live. It's a pretty epic song.
Yeah.
And you kind of know when people are wrapped, and that just became a fan favorite really quickly. Wrong Side of Love is another one. And then in my solo work, probably, the one I just mentioned, While I While Away, Ex Post Facto is another one.
When you get the reaction from a number like that, is that what makes you a lifer?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. You know what I mean? I think anybody that goes into this has some modicum of ham in them. You know what I mean? That propels them in. Even if you're like a shy person, I think that that alter ego can come out when you feel your voice being amplified and some lights hit you and some people in the room. Like all of a sudden that's like a capsule all its own that detaches. And I think it's COVID-19 is contagious. Nothing more contagious than a kid hitting a power chord on a guitar through an amp or singing a song for people.
I just get fascinated. I can't play an instrument, I told my friend Adam, if I sing in the shower, the water stops. I understand that. I'm not inclined that way.
Great acoustics in the shower. We all do that.
I hear. But I love music, and I think part of it is because, outside of my grasp that, I have a great reverence for anybody that can play instruments and do it so well. And then there's those epic songs or acts, performances that just touch you in the pit of your soul.
Yeah.
And you just go like, wow.
Yeah.
I can tell you so many different performances I've been at where I can clearly remember just saying there's no place on this fucking planet I would rather be than right here, right now. This is special. And there's just so many. That's what's great about New York.
Yeah.
There's so many of them in little venues and big venues, and it's music, it's energy, it's love, it's fucking thought. It's like so much goes into the art, and then when all the stars are aligned, every once in a while you get one of these magical either songs or performances, whatever. It's just that's unbelievable.
It's really like when you're killing, because I was the same way. I mean, with music, like as a young kid, like just I can't remember a time when I didn't just love it and be really enchanted by a song or just enraptured. Like I just remember my earliest memories are just being in the car listening to, and like AM radio as a kid, like loving
WABC.
Like Billy Don't Be a Hero or something like, what I mean? Like I just remember, Harry Manilow songs even. I remember, I write the songs. And I remember being a kid, love those songs. But, when I started getting into records and stuff when I was maybe 9 or 10, like really getting into albums and like records like Quadrophenia or Born to Run or, and just being in front of the mirror with a wiffle ball bat, I had like a cocoon, almost like a personal training, where I just practiced like singing these songs and really kind of inhabiting them. And then, so when it came time to do it, with the guys when I was 14 or 15, I was like, really like an explosion, like as soon as I got to do it for real, I was like, I'm never doing anything else. This is
When you were going through the darkest times of your life, what was it about music? Where did that come into play? The reason I ask you is, I went down to Yormouth Ranch a couple of summers ago, and we did this great interview, and he's just such a fucking class act, and what a great human being, But when it was all done, I got to just look him in the eye, shake his hand, and say thank you, because like you have no idea how you calmed me, and when I was like insane, like when the mayhem and the chaos and all the craziest shit in my head, but some music would just kind of bring me back and
So it's like hot tuna, or is it like
both, like a lot of
Down in the belly with the north wind shot.
dude.
I should cover that.
Even like the water song, just like getting taken away, swept away by. Sometimes it was not lyrics, but when it came to lyrics, and Pete Townsend did the same thing.
Sure.
Greg Allman did the same thing. Ronnie Van Zant. There were a few particular songwriters that just had that way of just taking me out of whatever and bringing me into their perception
I feel
of
like the
things.
same way.
What was like when you were going through? What was the music that you went to during your turmoil that kind of helped you?
Definitely, there's a band called Guided by Voices.
Sure.
Out of Dayton, Ohio. Robert Pollard, hugely influential to me. And then during that time, he's got a song that I covered called "Drinker's Peace." It could make me cry. I just identified with it so much. I almost like there was a writer. I read a book called The Fan's Notes, and this writer Frederick Exley. I remember reading that book while I was in my dark period, and identifying with him, who had written this sort of memoir with a wink. It wasn't exactly a memoir, but it's true enough where this was kind of a breadcrumb trail in sobriety for me. But Paul Westerberg, also I'm mentioning, both soloing with the Mats. Are you saying specifically when I was, in my sort of bottoming out? What was I listening
I'm saying when you're in that despair, when you don't.
Oh yeah.
Like there's certain things.
Common. Jackson Brown, big time. Waiting for the Scott Christie just got me the vinyl, and I just covered After the Deluge on the show, live stream.
When you're totally fucking you're confused, but you think you're the only one going through this traumatic fucking time, and then somebody hears a song and you're going. Somebody else gets it. So it's almost and
then you It's like a hand up into the boat.
Yes.
I remember my sister Joni Mitchell was like her, and I love her too. But it's really funny because I remember Carole King. I covered on the show because one of my earliest Beatles songs that I loved was Chains, and it's a Carole King song.
Yes.
And she wrote it with what's his name, Jerry Stolman, is it? Or I'm gonna get that name wrong, but right. She co-wrote it, a Tapestry. Like when I was a kid, all those songs. But my sister, she loved Joni Mitchell, and I remember I have two sisters, Donna and Eileen, and Eileen she would listen to Blue, every time like her boyfriend broke up with her or something. I remember Donna calling her up and I hear Blue on in the background. Get that off, it's making you more miserable, But we all have those go-tos that calm us, I mean, there's too many to name, You get into that, those list things on Facebook, like your favorite 10 albums. I walked around for days, with sweats pulling my hair out, can't pare that list down to 10 records, it'll change by next week. Next week you'll
of course
think of 10 more that
No, but I just wanted to, you've been so evasive today. I mean, you're so cooperative.
There's a Neutral Milk Hotels, another huge one for me.
He's be beaten into submission.
Yes.
No. So listen, I don't want to hijack your whole afternoon here, but I want to thank you and thank everybody at Donovan's, Danny, Jim, everybody.
Yeah. And I want to thank you because I've been a fire hose of non sequiturs today. I don't know how you're going to edit this, but I guess I'll be witnessing your skill as an editor and marveling at that.
Listen, we got a lot of really good stuff here today. Listen, you just being you is enough. I mean, you're a fascinating dude.
I'm a kaleidoscope, Scott. I had a guy. This would be a good one to end on. I just did a bit for the Campion Go-Go show, the Shem Butler interview.
Oh.
And I pulled this bit from something that actually happened to me. And I was coming home from a show, and this guy was conducting an interview. I ran into a guy on the train that was conducting an interview with me, almost like this one, but there were no cameras. And I was doing I was like late night. I was
kind of called a robbery?
I thought it might turn into a robbery. I was coming back from West Hampton. I was doing a show at a place called John Scott's, which is a little, it's like a little roadhouse out on Doon Road, and that a friend of mine owns. And I had to get a late night train back because I had a gig in the city the next day. And I get on the train. It's just me and one other guy in the car. There's nobody on the platform, and probably only 3 people on this entire train. Right? I get in the car. The guy sits down right across from me, like you, and he sees that I have instruments. So it was like a tractor beam, just like sucked him right. And all of a sudden, he could have sat anywhere. He sits right next to me, and starts rapid firing. Did you play tonight? I was like, yeah, I played over at.
I just carried my shit out.
What are those harmonicas? So he's going on. I'm like, I got an hour and 45 minutes on this train. That's all I'm thinking about. And I was like, I can't do this with him I'm exhausted. It's not going to end. So I was like, maybe I'll get off at the next stop. And so he goes, before we could get to, East Hampton or whatever actually, I don't know what the next stop is, but he goes, do you rock with your shirt off? And I go, what? He goes, yeah, when you're out there rocking, you rock with your shirt off. And I go, no. He goes, you gotta rock with your shirt off.
You can tell the guy's a harmonica player, right?
Yeah. But then he goes like this. He starts naming. He goes, listen, you play these little dogs. He goes, things will change. He goes, all the great ones do it. Iggy Pop, Slash. He starts naming all the, Anthony Kiedis, Flea, all the guys in the Chili Peppers, And so I was like, I can't be on this train with this guy. So when the doors open up, I was like, see you later, man. And as I'm leaving to go in, I hear him still naming. It was almost like Forrest Gump. Remember, Bubba Gump, Trip. As I'm hearing Danzig, So now I go in the next car, and I'm sitting down. I'm stretching. I'm like, I feel bad that I had to do that, but I was like, an hour and 45 minutes. I can't do it. So all of a sudden, I realized I'm in the bathroom car. And so the door's open, and he's going. I had to hide in the fetal position, and he must have been doing blow because he came in 8 times on the ride every time he came in.
It's a great story.
These are the things, right? These are the things we care in rock and roll. Come on, man.
Nobody get a song, but we got the story.
You gotta know how to survive out there. I'll still do a song. Do we have time for a song?
We do. We'll make time for a song.
Hi, I'm Don Kushner. The most bland host ever. Bill Graham, he was not. Kansas. Yeah.
Dust in the wind.
I used to make a joke.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Scott's O'Muni. Okay, you ready?
And Scott's O'Muni on WNW.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the winner of our to see Kansas in Kansas? 2, 3, 4. Make it tie your fingers, mister. You tape them up and you play some more. You seen your prom, you gone and missed it. You fell asleep in your headphones. You don't get no more. Can't be bought or sold. Don't feel like doing what you're told. You don't fight it, it's almighty rock and roll. You went and took a shot at college. You flunked right out and you got a job. Playing shows in big houses and sleeping in your friend's garage. You don't get no more. Can't be bought or sold. Don't feel like doing what you're told. You don't fight it, it's almighty rock and roll. Spent most of my life right here in this basement. Don't need no money to feel proud. Just do me a favor, do some replacements. And turn that shit up really loud. You don't get no more. You can't be bought or sold. Don't feel like doing what you're told. You don't fight it, it's almighty rock and roll. Oh, you don't get no more. You can't be bought or sold. Feel like doing what you're told. You don't fight it, it's almighty rock and roll. Thank you!
It's that hat.
It's the hat. It's the Papa John hat.
Is that
He said, good luck with my meat and my music. Probably should have stuck with the meat.
Is that the hat in the bed? Did you leave the hat on the bed?
Yeah, I know. Oh my God. You kidding me? Bob, can we shoot it? We should have done more. We should have done more drugstore cowboy. Do you remember when he's walking? Remember? Did you see that? It's an open transit. This is ex post facto. and you didn't think you'd last even this long. Regret has you lapping up that soul soothing salve. And you want the answers to questions that you don't even have. You can't go back to find where you went wrong. It's exposed fact, though you're right where you belong, my friend. 'Cause it doesn't matter now and it didn't matter then. The spirit is broken, you are hoping it comes back. Well, I say you're okay, just by virtue of that. Don't want the results before you even take good step one. You ought to know by now that that's no way to ever get things done. You can't go back to find where you went wrong. It's exposed fact, though you're right where you belong, my friend. 'Cause it doesn't matter now and it didn't matter then. You can't go back to find where you went wrong. It's exposed fact, though you're right where you belong, my friend. 'Cause it doesn't matter now and it didn't matter then. Turn over the Peter Frampton Stadium. Thank you. One time I was watching Good Morning America, and they had Michael Flatley on, the guy from remember Lord of the Dance or Riverdance.
Riverdance and Lord of the Dance.
Right, and they were on. Right, they had him on, and he was just going. They were interviewing him because he was starting Lord of the Dance, and he was like, you know, I've spent my time with River Dance, and I love those people. I mean, it's just been a tremendous, wonderful experience, and I just love them. But it was time to move on. So now I'm Lord of the Dance, and you know, we really got a great show for people. And so it was like Joan London. She's like, Michael, where are you from? He goes, I'm from Chicago. I was like, this motherfucker's from Chicago.
He's the original Hilarion.
Yeah. This is While I While Away. Taking a long walk through a short life. I wanna stop and see all the sights. 'Cause now you've shown me I dig upon me. I love you only. I love you only. When it's a dark night, oh, those green eyes are now the high beams through my dream skies. Lived on baloney and rights around me. I love you only. I love you only. First time I kissed you, you started laughing. Then we sat listening to the traffic. Oh, it just throws me how well you know me. I love you only. I love you only. You've been racing around. Have your hands in everything. Couldn't chase you down long enough to hear me sing while I while away the hours. Taking a long walk through a short life. You're my true north and my porch light. Oh, it just throws me how well you know me. I love you only. I love you only. You've been racing around. Have your hands in everything. Couldn't chase you down long enough to hear me sing while I while away the hours. While I while away the hours. While I while away the hours. Thank you very much. God bless you, Donovan. God bless you on the roof. What's Scott Phelan? We'll see you soon.
Chris, where can anybody find you on social media? How can they find out where you're gigging?
I stream from my musician slash band page on Facebook, Christopher John Campion on Facebook. And I also have a personal page, Chris Campion, that I put the schedule up where I'm playing around town. And you can also go to the I Can't Be a Go-Go YouTube page if you want to, because we're going to be launching the the pilot of the show soon. So. Also, yeah, if you go and like the Tribeca Music Community page on Facebook, that will take you to all our comings and goings and really cool happenings.
All right.
Yeah.
Chris, thanks so much, man. We got to do this again. Real
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
No more 5-year.
Windmill!
Right,
I feel like
I checked, you weren't wearing the same pants.
Oh, I wasn't wearing the same pants?
You weren't.
Really? Oh man, I'm so psyched about that.